Everybody here studying digital marketing, huh? I'm going to take you a little bit back because I kind of predate digital marketing. I had a marketing business way back in the early days, let's say the mid-90s. And as you can see, people were not on the internet then. I did marketing and advertising for regional shopping centers. When regional shopping centers were told by me, there's something coming called the internet. And I mentioned this to my clients in '98. I said, you really need a website. And they said, oh, no, we have signage in the mall. You know, we run ads in the newspapers. Everybody didn't believe that the internet was really coming and this was going to be something. People were on AOL. People were on CompuServe. These are things you probably don't remember. But I started a business early on as a hobby, selling online in 1995 on America Online. And they threatened to throw me off because the idea at the time is you can't make money on our platform. That was not really forward thinking. I mean, let's face it, they could have been the first eBay. In case you didn't know, eBay for Dummies was my first book. I've written all the books about eBay. I have a new copy, new edition coming out in a few months, and I still sell on eBay. And when eBay started, one of the things that we learned about the people we dealt with is that it was all about dealing with the customer. It was social business. And that's where we are now. You know, we call it digital marketing, but it's really social business. People do business with you now not because of just what you sell or what your price is or who you are. It's how you interact with people online. It's how people have an ease and a comfort of dealing with you when they come online to talk to you, to go to your website, to connect with you in any way. So, take a look here. You can see it's made quite an advance. Now, 65% of online adults are using social networks, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Because as social networks have evolved, it's a way for people, let's say Alec Baldwin, to talk to a brand when they have an issue. That didn't work out very well, and we have a speaker later on crisis management who's going to help you a little with that. But the point is, if you reach your customer online, they are there, and it's growing. Did you know that the largest moving demographic right now on Facebook are people over 50? And I know, you know, you're going to look at me and say, I don't want my grandma on Facebook. But the bottom line is, every picture you ever post on the internet, as a matter of fact, Twitter, is archived by the National Archives. So if you put up any of those silly pictures, just know they're going to be there for your grandchildren to see. So untag yourself if possible. Definitely. There's a couple of pictures of me that I don't want people to see. Now, who are on social networking sites? How many people here have a small business? Okay, super. Did you know that the United States Census says a small business is anything under 500 employees? So when you hear these figures, you know, the government's talking about small business. To me, a business with 500 employees is a serious, medium-sized, almost a big business, but, you know, we're classified as small business. Do we have agency people here? Oh, good. Okay. Well, you guys are the smart guys, and there are some agency people who are going to talk to you later today who study this stuff nonstop. But what I do is I study, and I do, and I give people the results. This year, e-commerce, look at the change. People are spending money online. And if you have a customer that's going to be online, as we saw 65% of adults online are in social networks, they're going to be looking for your brands, be it on the different platforms. And the key to connecting with your customers is, believe it or not, customer service. That is interacting with your customer letting them know that you're there. You're there for them. No longer are people going to be happy with 44, and this just happened to me. I had a 44-minute wait time on the telephone when trying to buy something online. I went to a website, said free shipping. When I went to check out, there was this $30 shipping charge. So I called them up, waited 44 minutes for the person to say, and I got no answer. Had somebody been on that website and been online, I could have connected and they would have saved the sale. As it stood, I'll never do business with them again. And that's what the customer is doing now. So your stealth marketing is no longer beating people over the head and broadcasting. It's all about interacting with your customer. Now, take a look at these businesses. These people have been around a really long time. I mean, did you have any idea that some of these businesses were this old? I use these businesses as an example in my online customer service guide. Because if you look at these brands, they're still strong today. How hard is it to keep a brand name strong for over 100 years? And if you look at these names, what do they have in common? These are top customer service retailers. You've all heard the story about some lady trying to return snow tires to Nordstrom and they took them back. I don't know if that ever happened, but whoever started that story really did a nice job for Nordstrom because, people believed it. And you know that when you walk into any of these stores, hopefully, you're still going to get incredible customer service. So after 100 years, where they started with one small location and grew much larger, they are now online. And if you take a look, here are their Twitter accounts. You can contact any of these brands online today, now. You have a question, you have an issue. They are there, they are monitoring every day. I was at Federal Express quite recently. I spoke to their call center in Dallas. They have like 300 people who obviously, Federal Express, they have to get it there to the destination on time. Customers get pretty cranky. And I would assume that not all the phone calls they get are the most pleasant. And yet, I spoke to their call center team. They assign now 6 people to Facebook, 6 people to Twitter. And they are on there. And right now, if I tweeted to FedEx Robin, or I mentioned FedEx in a tweet, they would say, "Hi, we're here to help you." And that's what you have to do. Now, you say you can't be on 24/7, but at least you have to have hours so people know when you're going to be there. Be there, fish where the fish are. The fish are online. Be there when the fish are there. So know your customer. Know your customer's habits. When you have online customer service, first of all, you have to be present. You have to be there. If you're not there, walk before you run. Start small. You don't have to dive in with 6 people. It's a lot easier than you think. Because I've written books, my first book was published in '97, I've kind of lived online all this time. I get emails every day from people all over the world, and I don't really market to them. I'm part of their lives. I hear their victories. I hear they start small businesses. I get emails from people who say, "I read your book back in 2000, and now I've got like a business with 200 employees." So I'm part of what they do every day. And I'm just one person. I do not have a staff. I actually answer all the emails myself. Expect slow growth. People are not going to be flocking to you. Remember that online is not a numbers game. You don't have to have tens of thousands or 100,000 followers. And I'm going to show you some business examples at the end to show you how small or medium businesses can do very well. No time to do it yourself when you have a small business. One of the worst things I hear is, "Oh, well, we're going to have the intern do our tweeting." Really? Now, Is an intern as invested in your company's reputation as you are, or as your representatives are? You have to really think about that, because whoever is going to be out there as the voice of your company is what people will hear. They will be what people think of you. There were a couple of little fails. A volunteer for the American Red Cross once tweeted when she was drunk on the American Express account. Little tip, if you're tweeting for your business, you might want to carry 2 phones or have 2 different accounts so you don't make the mistake. So that happened. Somebody for the agency for Chrysler once tweeted quite nastily about the traffic in Detroit. That didn't go over really well. So, you know, somebody who's doing the tweeting has to be as invested in the company as you are, or they have to be a real pro who understands your business. If somebody, if a sports company, okay, I'll take back sports because I used to work for the Dodgers. No, we're going to take out automotive because I write about cars. Let me think. Okay, if a financial company, I'm useless at that, wanted me to tweet for them, it would be pointless because I don't understand the business. I don't understand the tone that they need to get out. So if you hire someone and you have somebody to tweet for you, pick a quarterback. Pick somebody who's going to understand your business and what you want to do. Immediacy is crucial. Remember when I told you about my placing the order online? They weren't there. It's not only being present, it's acting. Acting on the customer's needs as fast as humanly possible. Because your customer is in the situation right there. What is better than coming back to them and saying, here I am, what can we do to help? And that's what's going to build customer loyalty. That's what's going to build brand ambassadors for you, your businesses, and your clients' businesses. So, along with being there to help them, there's buy-in opportunities. That's when you can slip in your marketing. When people trust you, you can sell to them. If people don't trust you, you can't sell to them much of anything. So it's all about not only building trust, but becoming part of their lives. These are a couple of quotes from my online customer service guide that have kind of become memes on the internet. I see them popping up all the time. And that's becoming part of the lives of your followers or your customers. If you have a page on Facebook, you need to have someone hit birthdays every day and wish happy birthday to every one of those names. Yeah, it's a pain in the neck, but all you have to do is copy, paste, click, click, click. You can do 40 in no time. But you need to let them know that you care. You need to let them know that you're part of their lives. When you do this and you go online to deal with your customer, you're going to be saving money. I mean, think about it. Texting, that's why we all text. I mean, how many of you really want to get on the phone with somebody right now? But I'll bet you there's a few people here texting or tweeting, and you've gotten the message across to someone, and you've performed an action. It's not passive. Connecting with your customer and solving their problem within a matter of minutes is a positive action. And that's what you have to do. Isn't that what you as a consumer want if you have a problem with a business? So just put on your consumer head rather than your marketing head and think about what you need as a person. When you're on Twitter, you get really talented at getting your point across in very few characters. And that's important because it reduces time. You are going to be saving buckets of money rather than having me hold on the line for 44 minutes waiting for somebody to help me, and I'm just getting angrier and angrier listening to background music. Now, this slide, I hope you can see it. This is from Jason Fall's Twitterverse presentation he did a long time ago. This is when people started out doing customer service on Twitter. When people say, I need a big staff, this is what they started out with. Okay, Comcast has a lot of issues. But when you look at some of these other brands, there are not a lot of people who are out there talking. You don't have to be there 24/7. Alaska Air had one person 8 hours a day. When I tweet out to Alaska Air when I'm on a plane or I have a question, they always say hello. They are constantly monitoring social media, looking for people who make comments, and building a positive attitude. There was a blog post just yesterday from, and I can't remember his real name because I know everybody by Twitter names, but somebody had reached a highlight with Delta Airlines. Now, Delta Airlines is on there with Delta and Delta Assist. And he tweeted out, you know, I'm going to hit my diamond level or something like that. He got on the plane, and there were 2 Delta employees waiting for him at the other end with balloons. Now, for a loyal customer who's spending hundreds, maybe thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime, what does a couple of balloons cost you? Makes an impression. There were photos on the internet. Everybody saw it. So things like this, some of them are set up PR things, but some of them just happen because the companies care. The companies are at the airport, especially, yeah, you're going to be there. Now, something you need to remember before you, your employee, or the person you hire to connect online is you have to have a social media policy. This is very important. And on my blog, I will put links up to a workbook where you can put together your own social media policy. You need to outline what you expect of employees, what you allow them to say. Coca-Cola does a really good job, and I love showing their example. They established this a long time ago. You can find great examples on the web, but I promise you to blog post about social media policy before the end of the week, so you can get a bunch of links, so you can start putting together your own policies. Just remember that when an employee, whether they're your official tweeter or not your official tweeter or your official Facebook person, if they say that they work for your company, everything they say reflects on you. A lot of times, even though they say the tweets are my own, they still reflect, right? I mean, you know, somebody works for a company, they say some things that you may find offensive, politically incorrect to you. Remember, we live in a world that not everybody thinks the same way. Some of us, you know, we think we're right, we think the others are wrong, but the moment you put a political statement, a religious statement online, there's a good chance you're going to offend somebody. So these may be topics you might want to leave out of your online engagement. I've certainly avoided those for many years, right along with my age. So there are certain topics I just don't talk about. But you need to outline. You need to have a distinct policy. Remember that the web has a memory. You, as a business, are personally responsible for everything that goes out there. And as a human being, every photo, you know, one of the things I do, I also write a series of books for seniors or people over 50 who are going on Facebook, and people that I meet say, I don't want my grandma on Facebook. I don't want her to see my pictures. But like I said earlier, all that stuff is being archived. It's going to be there for your grandchildren to see. So everything you say, it says may be available for access, but there's a website called the Wayback Machine. I can go there and see websites from the beginning of the web. They take snapshots of web. When I was researching my online customer service guide, I found the first posting that Jeff Bezos did before Amazon was Amazon, asking for an IT guy to help him with this new project that he was working on. And it was Amazon. It's all still on the web. It's not going away. So every time you connect yourself or your business to an opinion, anytime you stray off the middle path, you are putting your business in a position to be identified that way. I think it was Lululemon, is that the yoga wear company recently? They went out of their safe zone, and they recently did a blog post that referenced John Galt and Atlas Shrugged, which is, you've all read the book, right? We're at a university. But a lot of people find that offensive. And they took a stand, and people feel that maybe that hurt them. Maybe it even hurt their stock opening. Think about it. Don't offend people. Your job is not to offend anybody. So, since we have to start small, you can't be everywhere. So where are your fish? I went to a website called Alexa.com. You can go there and put in any website, including your own, assuming you get enough hits, and see who's going there. You can see who hangs out at what website. Looking at Yelp.com, in the example here, if you've got a restaurant or if you're in the hospitality business in any way, or a service business, I would say this tells you you'd better get on Yelp in a hurry, because people are going there. An interesting thing I isolated out there is, do they have children? If your business involves something where families, you can get this data. This isn't any magic secret sauce. This is stuff that you can go to Alexa.com, you can go to AdSense. AdSense has buckets of stats. Do your research. Small business doesn't have to feel like this is too overwhelming. All the data and all the statistics are there. I found it, you can find it. I find it interesting that Foursquare.com isn't getting a lot of hits right now from people over a certain age. I always check in on Foursquare. But like I showed you in the beginning, the adaptation of the internet took a pretty long time. When I first started writing about eBay, people were saying, it's just this like ongoing garage sale. I don't want to buy that junk. And do you know that there are people today, it was just yesterday that I said to someone, are you kidding? They said to me, I never shop on eBay. I've never bought anything on eBay. I realized eBay's been in business since '97. You buy something on eBay, there's a buyer protection guarantee that if the item isn't as listed, you get your money back. That's customer service, but people don't get it yet. Adaptation of the internet takes a long time, because right now we're going against human nature. Human nature doesn't trust a lot on the internet. We're getting back to the trust thing here. They don't trust what they see, they only trust what they hear, which is why by going online and being there, you can influence more people for your business, in your community, in, who's going to spend money with you. And if you have a brick and mortar business, you should really have that website, because you never know who's going to find you. I mean, I sell online. I have a website. I have several websites. I sell stuff to people in Finland. Who knew? It's like a big customer base in Finland. I guess they like a particular product that I sell. So you never know where the customers can come from. So through your online engagement and dealing with the customer properly online, you're going to find the fish. This is a very interesting statistic, and where I got it from is on the next slide, but when customers reach out, 58% of people said, we want a response right now. And look at that, 42% expect a response within a day, which is why I say you don't have to be on 24/7. Check it once a day if you're a small business. People will find you, people will get their responses from you. Only 22% of consumers who left a comment on a social networking site got a response from the company. Think about that. They're screaming into the wind. This was from a Data Right Now Technologies 2010 study. That was then. It's massively increased now, but it's still not there. We've got a 10-year lag time, a 10-year adaptation for businesses to actually get it right. I was on a panel last year at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, And NASA was on one side of me, and LeVar Burton was on the other side of me. And we're talking about engaging with your customer, your brand, your people. And I turned to LeVar Burton and I said, you couldn't follow someone back on Twitter? What's it going to hurt you? You're such a big deal that you can't follow people back? And what is it with the brands that don't follow people back? Think about it. It doesn't cost you anything. You click, it's like, let's turn our minds back to the marketing of putting together that mailing list. Connecting and following people is a deeper connection. You're not just broadcasting to them. Sure, they may follow you, but by your connecting back, you've made a deeper relationship. I tweeted once something about Kathy Ireland, who I don't know if you know, not only being a Sports Illustrated beautiful model, she has Kathy Ireland Worldwide. She's a brilliant businesswoman, a huge international business. And she was on with Piers Morgan, and I tweeted something about it, and Piers Morgan tweeted me back. Piers Morgan tweeted me, and he followed me. Think about it. I mean, seriously, if you have somebody you admire in this world that follows you back, doesn't it make you feel good? Or if they, just answering is one thing, but what does it cost you to click? If you're using one of those tools, TweetDeck, Seismic, Hootsuite, and some of the smarter people who come in later will give you some of the more expensive enterprise level programs you can use. I talk about what you can use for free, what isn't going to cost you anything. You can put together a private list of people that you want to see on Twitter all the time, and you'll see them. But you're there when somebody @replies you. So following back people shows that you're genuine. Now, where do you connect? Let's just start, because I was talking to Tom, who's the head of marketing here at Pepsi Cola. Take a look at their interaction on Twitter. Got Twitter right there. Gosh, that's a big screen. Look at their followers. Take a look at Facebook. Now notice on their Facebook page, it's gated. Gated means, see the little red arrow that says you can click like? You can't get deeper into their site unless you click like. Now there are pros and cons to this. I'm not a big fan of the gate. I'd rather be able to interact with anybody and not force them to do something for me. Because when you gate your Facebook page, you're asking them to do something for you right out of the box. Is that customer service? As a brand, you should be doing for them immediately. So, there are differing opinions. This is my opinion. I would not gate my page. I would give the customer some benefit so they will like my page. You can see they're also on Google+, which is very, very new. Google+ attracts huge numbers, but in my anecdotal research, I'm finding Google+ to be more international, more for humongous brands at this point. I mean, it may morph in the future, but right now, Twitter and Facebook is where you can get your local communities together. Now, this was interesting. The frequency with which that CEOs thought their company interacted with their customers. They didn't know most of the time. They thought maybe it needs to be a little more important to them than sometimes, never, often needs to be the answer. You need to be there to answer the questions. Here are the reasons that people like a Facebook page for a brand. And this is from emarketer.com. Got some great data on that site. But they are seeking out sales and promotion codes. But if somebody comes to your page just seeking out sales, they're not an ambassador for you. They're using you. They may be spending with you. But what is a loyal customer over time, right? A loyal customer is a lifetime customer You've got a lot of competition out there, so you need to respond. So if they want to share that positive or negative customer service experience, you need to be there. I have run sweepstakes on my sites. A lot of brands will sell. I've given away computers, telephones, all kinds of things. A sweepstakes is a benefit. It's a nice thing, and that helps you build your email list, right? That will bring them to the page. But how about if you put stories that people can relate to? How about if you talk to the people and they understand and they have a reason to come other than just commerce? Then you're part of their lives. Because at the bottom you see, upload a photo or video. They may want to show you. They may be so excited about one of your products or one of your employees, they may want to upload a video. Think about it. They're going to be becoming part of your community. A question, what do you tweet about? The last thing you want to constantly tweet about is yourself. Dan Zarella, one of the really big brains and smart people in social media, he's a social media scientist. He studies the numbers. These are the numbers. If you talk about yourself all the time, you're not going to have the highest amount of followers. People will tune you out. It's just the way we fast forward from commercials. People don't want to watch it. Now, this is a small business sample Facebook business page. When you have a business page on Facebook, they have something called Insights. You click on that, and you can see, now look at this. This is a small business page with 1,654 people who liked. The possible reach of those people are close to 1 million. Think about if this retailer did something brilliant on their Facebook page, where it could possibly go. You have to multiply it out. When I say digital media and social media are not a game of numbers, I mean that you don't have to have a bazillion followers yourself, because your business may not be totally worldwide. But look at the reach from 1,654 to almost 1 million. Facebook Insights will also give you information about your customers. You can go there, see how you skew, male, female. This is that same 1,600 people. It's interesting data. Using your Facebook page, you get a lot of free data. Combine that with Alexa, Google AdSense. You've got a lot of data. So it's a do-it-yourself. Small business, no excuse. Now, I mentioned Foursquare here because I mentioned it before, and it's growing like crazy. Think about it, 15 million people worldwide. They've made alliances with major brands, and one of the reasons I check in on Foursquare is American Express has an alliance with Foursquare, and if I check in and I'm at a restaurant or I'm at a location that takes American Express and has a deal with Foursquare, I get a discount. I was in Orlando, and there was a free bottle of wine at a restaurant with 2 entrees. Not bad, and all I had to do was check in. Again, maybe a 10-year adaptation cycle, but if you're one of the first people on there now, you're not a guinea pig, you're building your base, right? And if you build your base in the beginning, you're going to be the leader wherever it happens, wherever it goes. Even if you're a small retailer, a small business, even a doctor's office. I've seen doctor's offices have incredible followings online because there's a personality behind them and people want to go see that doctor. This is not just limited to retailers or service businesses, doctors, hospitals. Do you ever look at the Mayo Clinic site? It's not full of a bunch of ads. The Mayo Clinic is very smart. It's pages and pages of information. So you go to Foursquare if you have a retail business. You go to the Foursquare for Business page and claim your page. You can claim your page on Yelp, which is a customer review site, but you have to do the action. If you don't do the action, you don't own your page and you cannot respond to people. You can't add the extra information that people want to see. Manage your reputation online. This is most important. Because when people find you online, everything that's said about you is going to come up. Monitor what your clients are seeing about you. Monitor what your customers see. Angie's List, if you aren't familiar with that, any service business. They have expanded now to doctors, lawyers. Everybody's being rated on Angie's List. If you're a brand, you need to go on there. You need to claim your page. Claim your page. This is like a land rush, but it's a social media land rush, and the reward is customers. Here's a site, socialmention.com. You notice I have my name in quotes here. Quotes is a search operator which will find Marsha and Collier in that order. In other words, it wouldn't be a news story about Marsha, blah, 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 and Steve Collier. So put quotes around it. If it's a two-word brand, do your search. Social Mention will search all these things automatically. And you can get a look at what's going on and how your brand is being mentioned. And they will even rate it green or red. They'll let you know what's positive, what's negative. Google Alerts. If you have a brand and you have a business, you should be getting daily Google Alerts anytime your name is mentioned through Google. Just go to google.com alerts, sign up. It's just one more email, but that one email may save you from a major disaster if somebody is out there bad-mouthing your business. You need to hear, and then you need to act immediately. Same point. This is not a widely known site. This also scours the web for mentions all over. And you can see they stress a lot more. You can see the green for being the positive. You can get hundreds of responses. You'd be surprised. You need to go to these websites, search your brand, search your clients, search your name. See what the web has to say about you. You want to know about Twitter? Create, I can't even pronounce it, a Twi-alert? You need to get one of these. They will let you know every time your name and your brand is mentioned on Twitter. I found this very useful so I can file DMCA notices on people who are pirating my books. But it's a way. Information, as we said a little further back, is power. And it's your way to get new business. Here's my favorite part, and this is Western Bagel. And you see they don't have a ton of followers. Let me explain to you who Western Bagel is. It's a bagel baking company that supplies restaurants. They have 5 restaurants of their own where you can go eat bagels and you can enjoy bagels. And they are on Twitter. Not a large number of followers, but people respond to them. They don't need a super large amount of followers. They're on Facebook. Bagel Brad. I mean, this is small business. And yet, 2,600 likes on this page. People are following. They want to know what's going on. They interact. They allow people to post to the page. And that's something you need to do. I see a lot of brand pages on Facebook where they don't allow people to post to the page. Really? That's not transparent. That's not honest. I love this. I took these 2 photos. The Open 24 Hours entrance is at their actual bakery in an industrial area. Follow Bagel Brad on Facebook and Twitter. Right? The other one I took at one of their restaurants. Okay, so there was a reflection in the window, but you got the drift. Give us your email for personalized special offers. Bagel Brad or his representative is online and connecting with customers. And they drill this message in at the location because they are a business where customers come in. And they're very successful at it. United Linen. Love this business. It's a small business in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Scott Townsend does their tweeting. You know, they don't have a bazillion followers either, but it's a vibrant business. They've been in business forever. And obviously, linen rental, restaurants, events. He's online. He connects with customers. And believe it or not, they had, I think it was last year, this huge snowstorm, and they were late on deliveries. They were connecting with their customers via Twitter to let them know. They were DMing them messages, things like this, so they could get the word to them because there were no phone lines at the time. It was a bad snowstorm. United Linen has a blog. Okay, this blog post is not about linen, is it? But it's things your employees should know about marketing. This is something any small business would love to read. You have somebody at your business, you have somebody at your agency that knows how to write. Put up something that interests your customers. They're a B2B business. Perfect. Put links on my blog. My blog consists of great stuff I find on the internet that's going to help businesses connect with their customers. It's not always my stuff. Here's their Facebook page. Again, they're not always doing bargains. They're not always doing sales. But they're 249 followers. It's working for them, and they have seen the benefits. They post videos. This is on Vimeo. Talk about different things. Customers are listening. This is my favorite, with 3261 people that viewed this video. They run a series of how to fold napkins. You're having an event, you want to know how to make one of those like bird folds in napkins. This is number 8 in their series of napkin folding. They're giving the customer, remember, they're in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. I would say that that market might not be as large as Los Angeles or New York, but these people own their market. They're giving the business. Why would you, as a restaurant, do business with anybody else when somebody's out there connecting with you like this? Realize that when a business connects, they're touching you as a person. Now, if you take a look, they have claimed their Yelp page and the little customer history, established in 1936, and they respond to the customer comments on here. And once you claim your page on Yelp, you can add that about the business and have information. You're there for your customers. And I mentioned Angie's List before. One of the best things about Angie's List, one of the best things about the internet, is that the reviews come from real people. And what we used to call WOM, word of mouth, it's now digital. I say one thing on the internet, let me see, I've got like 44,000 followers on Twitter. If I was one of those cranky people who had a real problem, and I said something, the word would get around quickly if I phrased it right. Here, I wanted to show you, I've written one bad review in my entire life. And I was just so angry. I went to a very expensive restaurant that was all, you know, like all the celebrities go to the restaurant. The food was abysmal. The service was worse. There were bones in my fish. I was livid. And there was nobody around to help. I posted my review on Yelp.com in October. In December, they sent me a private message to tell me they were disappointed, and that's the response. So it took them 2 months to respond. And they didn't put their response on their page, which is why I say claiming your pages on review sites gives you the opportunity to answer back in public. My review on that restaurant has been sitting on the web for 2 months doing damage. And you should see some of the other reviews, they're just as bad. But the point is, if they just claimed their page and publicly answered, the other people who come to the review site would see that the business really cares. They want to talk to their customers. They want to make things right. But they answered me in a private message, and that is not going to help their public image at all. There's no marketing in emailing me privately. They need to have me as a happy customer, so I'm going to go back out there and say, it's fabulous, it's wonderful. One of the reasons you also want to follow customers back on Twitter is so that you can DM them. Once you've made that initial contact, you might want to be saying some things privately to them. And the way you do that is by DMing. The only way you can DM someone is by following them. And don't unfollow them afterwards. I wrote this book a year ago. A year before Brian Solis found it to be the hot new topic. Because I've been living online for over a decade. I've been buying online for over a decade. I've watched the changes. I've been a marketer. I've been a customer. And I can honestly tell you I'm not going to stop learning. I'm not going to stop writing. I have a new book coming out on social business. This is where it is. Your digital marketing is all about connecting to your customer. And I really hope that some of the things that I've told you today have helped maybe change your mind in some of your thoughts or ways of doing business on the web. Because your customers are there. They want to be your friends. They want to be your fans. They want to connect. And by personal engagement, you're going to get better customers and more loyal brand ambassadors. Thank you very much. I hope I've given you something today.
Okay, we have a couple of questions if you're up for that.
Oh yeah, questions are good. I like questions.
So one of the ones I thought was interesting was, how do you make this easy for non-techies?
Well, do you know how to text?
Yes.
You don't have to be a techie to understand texting, right? And when you type a tweet into a tweet box, you get to look at it before you click launch the tweet. So it's not that difficult. On my blogs, I give a lot of instructions. In this book, I explain, because this book is written for non-techie people. By using free apps, it'll ease your monitoring, like I showed you Social Mention, like I showed you Google Alerts. These are free apps, and really it's not rocket science. And that's the reason I wrote the book, just to list, just like I told you now, these free apps where you don't have to be technically inclined.
Cool. So one of the others was, beyond you, who are some good people to follow for information on customer service?
Okay, if you're really good with big words, and Brian Solis is doing a lot. He's a PR guy who, gee, after my book, he turned into the customer service arena. But he deals with enterprise-level businesses. I deal with small and medium businesses. In customer service, what I'd suggest to you, we have a customer service chat every Tuesday on Twitter from 6 to 7 Pacific time. The hash mark is CUSTSERV, CUSTSERV. We have topics from the consumer point of view to the marketer point of view. And we get together for an hour on Twitter, and we use the hash mark. And again, by using Seismic or TweetDeck, you can have a column. And if you have a question, you come into the chat. How do I do that? Somebody will send you the information on Twitter. And you can get into a discussion. And with members of our group, we have people from AT&T, we have people from Pepsi, we have all kinds of top brands. The CEO of ING Direct came in with us. We have automotive companies. And if you want to read those, you go to scribd.com, scribd.com, and under my name, I have archives of many of the customer service chats. And we go on great topics, you know, like at what point do you fire a customer? At what point is a customer enough of a pain that you just say, okay, uncle, you're not my customer anymore. So rather than one person, I like the digital thing, crowdsourcing. And by our customer service chat on Twitter, you've got smart people in there from small business, all the way from mom and pop businesses to enterprise businesses, all answering the same questions within a chat. And it's really interesting to see how the differing opinions or agreeing from enterprise to small business. And we have a different topic every week because this is an evolving marketplace. The book will give you the basics, but the day-to-day instructions are great to pick up from Twitter chats.
Perfect. I've got one more here. How do you deal with crisis communications in social media?
Well, there's a brilliant speaker who's an expert on crisis communications, but I mentioned Alec Baldwin and what happened. I tweet with American Air a lot because I travel American Air, and they DM'd me on Twitter and they said, how'd you like the Facebook post? Kind of thing. And I said it was brilliant. When they addressed the Alec Baldwin situation on Facebook, they referred to Alec Baldwin as a high-profile customer. They did not use his name for SEO. They handled it properly. Crisis management is a very specific thing in any business, be it digitally or in real life. I mean, you've got people out there who say stupid things every day, and when they're tied into your brand, you need a specialist who's really going to handle it. But if you're a small business, you've gotten a bad review on one of the review sites, or somebody says something nasty, the best way to address it is to be there immediately, as fast as you can, and to take action. And let the world see that you've taken action. Let your tweets reflect, that you've fixed the problem for somebody, because that's the most important thing. If you just monitor and you just listen, that isn't going to get you anywhere. The world has to see that you've done something to make the customer happy.
I just want to say thank you so much for everything. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you coming out.
And if you have any questions, I'm at Marsha Collier on Twitter.